important. So stay tuned for the ways that I think that you can make literature come alive with you using immersive reading. The first thing I want to talk to you about is historical context. From the Diary of Anne Frank, which I read when I was a little girl, till the most recent thing that I read, which was The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, being able to go into the National World War II Museum really helped give me a context that I didn't have before. I was able to see artifacts from the war. I was able to see timelines and maps and put things together in a way that I'd never been able to do before. It was great for me to be able to visualize that and experience it. One of my favorite things about this was being able to see personal artifacts like this letter from a general to his wife. I also got to see a couple of memorials, and it was really just a fabulous thing for me to be able to see. The second thing I want to talk to you about is author context. In order to really understand a piece of literature, it's important that you do understand the author a little bit. Here you can see that I'm at the William Faulkner House in New Orleans. He lived in New Orleans for a while and drew a lot of inspiration from New Orleans. His house that he lived in predominantly while he was here has now been turned into a cool little bookstore that even features Tennessee Williams, who's another famous New Orleans author. This hotel, the Hotel Monteleone, is one that was frequented by many authors. You may recognize names like Ernest Hemingway, Eudora Welty, Tennessee Williams himself, William Faulkner, and many others. Mark Twain was even fond of New Orleans, and while he didn't live here, he did spend quite a lot of time piloting a boat up and down the Mississippi River, which you can see here. I was able to spend a lot of time watching boats on the Mississippi River in New Orleans, and that helped give me context into Mark Twain as well. The last thing I want to talk to you about is cultural context. Sometimes when we're reading literature and it involves a culture that we haven't experienced, it may seem like a different world, even if that world is in our same country. Here you see that we're at the Café du Monde, which is kind of a staple in New Orleans, and many authors would have also frequented this place. The architecture is something that's always nice to be able to visualize when you're reading a story. To know a little bit about the area, the immigrants came in, those kind of things are also important. And of course, you can't really go to New Orleans without appreciating the music. Here you see a statue of Mr. Louis Armstrong. In Jackson Square, there are almost always street performers who are willing to play some jazz and bluesy type stuff for you. I'd like to give you a little bit of an example in case you've never seen it.
Give it to me, and I'm gonna let it shine. Ow, ow, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
So as you can see, I've had a wonderful time immersing myself in the New Orleans atmosphere. I would encourage you to do the same thing. Part of immersive reading is to really get in and understand the context of literature better, whether that's making a recipe, a food that perhaps you've never tried. That's something easy that you can just Google online, making it and then eating it. You at least have a little bit of that literature that you understand better. Or maybe you want to go to a museum local to you that will give you insight into a war or into some art. Maybe you just need to watch a documentary. It doesn't have to be an elaborate thing like a trip to a different city, but any way that you can immerse yourself into literature and really understand that context better, that's going to help you out.